Tonight on the podcast, it is episode 100. Sean, how the hell are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling old, Joe. I'm feeling old.
100 episodes of this shit.
But please listen.
Yes, but please listen. We love the shit that we provide to you each week. The only where I'm going with this is going to get kind of weird really quickly. But we want to start off with an announcement. We teased it a little bit. We are rebranding the podcast. The Guy at the Movies podcast with Joe and Sean will from henceforth be known as the Guy at the Movies podcast. We're making it a little bit more marketable, a little bit more, easier to roll off the tongue.
With Joe and Sean was a bit of a mouthful. Every time I would say that, I would say the podcast name in its entirety, and by the end, people lost interest.
Do you know what I'm really worried about, though? I have started off every one of these podcasts in the past, however many months, going, welcome to the Guy at the Movies podcast with Joe and Sean. I am Joe. He is Sean. Now, welcome to the Guy at the Movies podcast. I am Joe. He is Sean.
Still works.
We'll have to see how it works.
Welcome to the Guy at the Movies podcast. I am Guy. He is movies.
Yeah, well, he do math. I am Guy. But why don't we get started?
Everyone is part of the family at this point.
I didn't do my fan fiction idea that I had, so this movie was garbage.
What is this? You are a monster beyond all belief.
Put them all in the thing and let them do the thing. You know what I mean?
How? You're lucky to have me back.
You're never gonna get 60 million people because you're not a Super Bowl. Shut up!
So chaotic.
Welcome to the Guy at the Movies podcast. I am Joe. He is Sean. This is episode 100. We're going to have fun, play it loose, go crazy. Sean, say something.
I know. I didn't know how to interject at that, but, it's just 100 episodes. It has been a rare and distinguished pleasure, Joe, to have you, on board with me, talking movies, all that good stuff. You do so much for this podcast. I just come on here and scream every week. You are the one that is behind. I say this every time we have a big milestone, but Joe deserves all the credit for this pod. He not only started it, but he does like so much of the work. He does so much of the things behind it, the editing, all that stuff. I just come on here and scream and yell, and then a week later I come out of my cave again.
Well, I appreciate that. It's it would not be the same without you here. And the yelling is very apparent, actually, because when I was pulling clips for that opening video, most of them were you screaming about something. I was like, we have to balance this out a little bit.
My passion has not worn off after 100 episodes. So,
and I'm sure with some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight, we'll be seeing more of that passion. But welcome to the 100th. We will dive into our mid-year sort of roundup of what we have been watching for the past 6 months now, as tomorrow is June 1st. 5 months, I guess, really. But we're doing it a little early to mark the 100th, so stick around for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. But let's start off talking about trailers. And Sean, we're going to start with Beast, and I'm going to show you the only clip of this trailer that you need to see. Oh. And this is what sells me on the movie and why I will be there in a heartbeat. Ready?
Boom. Yep.
Idris Elba punching a fucking lion.
Yep.
I'm in.
Yep. I was going to say that, I have an AMC Plus subscription now, so I don't really pay money for specific movies, but I would pay $15 to watch Idris Elba punch a lion. I love that this Beast movie is literally just Cujo, but with a lion.
That's true. That's very true.
Well, and they say Beast and everything, and I'm like, I expect something crazy. And so, no, it's a lion. Just call it Lion. I don't know. There's another movie with lion. But I don't know. There was something about it where I thought this would be this mythical beast, and it's like, no, it's just a lion trying to kill you. I mean, I guess a big deal, but
and I'm in for it. I mean, that it looks fun. I was thinking about this when I watched the trailer. I remember when they first announced this, and I thought that it was a very interesting way for them to go, or for Idris Elba to go. Given a lot of the roles that he's taken recently, you think about Suicide Squad and how he's kind of in the lead there. But then I think about things like he just voiced Knuckles. I think about when he did what was season 6 or 7 of The Office, season 6 maybe it was, when he was in The Office for a few episodes. he's kind of that like all around utility man that does a lot of different things. And a simple premise like this, protect your family from this wild lion that's on the loose and killing people. Sign me up.
I mean, it just looks like a solid action movie, a solid, thrilling action movie. I do say we always decry the trailer advertisements before the trailer. This might have been the best one of all time, where he's running through the words. It's like, Beast, trailer, now. And I was just like, okay, you know what? I usually hate these, but that one I can get on board with. No, I'm on board with this. It looks, I hope it maintains a smidge of originality, which I think it could. And
a smidge of originality.
Yes.
Smidge of originality.
I know we're not dealing with everything everywhere all at once here, but you know.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't know. It just looks like good fun. I always kind of pump up mindless entertainment, and that's what this seems like. So sign me up. We also are going to talk about this other trailer that dropped this morning on Good Morning America, as I was informed by my mother, as she was telling me about her friend George, essentially. George Stephanopoulos. She keeps saying, George was talking about this one book that he really liked. He said it was one of the best that he read. And George likes history. I said, you talk about him like you're best friends with him texting and stuff.
I also like the identifying name is George Stephanopoulos.
The worst part is I knew who she was talking about immediately. That's the worst part of it all. We're going to talk about Pinocchio. So it's a live action remake of Pinocchio with Tom Hanks in the lead role of Geppetto. As well as other inclusions of actors. Wow. 100 episodes in and still have a way with words.
Nailing it.
Keegan-Michael Key, Cynthia Erivo, Luke Evans is involved. So this is going to be kind of interesting. Robert Zemeckis is directing, so he's reuniting with Tom Hanks here.
Excuse me. Legendary director Robert Zemeckis.
Legendary director.
I paused it, and I paused it for about 5 minutes and just looked at the screen there and saw legendary director Robert Zemeckis, and I said, okay, I'm just going to sit here with this, let it shower over me.
Oh, hey, good on them. What did you think of this? I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
It feels unsettling to me.
Really?
It really does. I know. A part of me just like, I don't know, Tom Hanks really made up as Geppetto, and then, you know, the fact that the wooden puppet looks like spitting image of the animated one and constructed that way. And the trailer does sort of hype up a little bit more of the adventure story to it, which did get my blood boiling a little bit in a good way. I really started to get interested there. But, you know, just like the moment where like just Tom Hanks praying in a nightie with like unsettling facial hair just really was like just strange to me. I mean, I'm on board for this. It's going to be just a weird ride because we have Zemeckis doing this. Then we also have, Guillermo del Toro doing this, but in a much, much different fashion. So I don't know where like there's going to be the unfair comparisons. Like, I don't know which one's going to be better, or they'll both be good and they'll both be different. And so it'll be an apples to oranges scenario, which I think will be the case.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zemeckis' last film was The Witches. Not to judge someone on just their last film, but it has that same kind of live action remake thing. And that was a big yikes on that one as well. I don't know. I'll keep an open mind, but the trailer, like there's parts of it that were just felt off-putting to me.
I trust that Disney was a little bit more like, no, this is what you have to do with this story. Like, you can't go completely crazy. Like with The Witches, they changed the ending. You know, like that was one thing that pissed a lot of people off, is the end of that was just a little crazy. But I as soon as they started playing When You Wish Upon a Star, I was like, oh, I'm in. You got me. Love Disney. Sign me up. And I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I love Tom Hanks, so anything that he's in, I always give it, a little bit more rope. So I'm excited for that. It's just funny that he's playing these like old man characters this year, when you think about Elvis as well, and his role in there. So a lot going on.
I just now realized, he's the Colonel, and then now he's also Geppetto. It's a little bit unsettling. Yeah,
so I'm looking forward to it, mainly for that like Disney magic touch. The Disney originals, the live action remakes that have gone to Disney Plus. I'm trying to think of the other ones besides Lady and the Tramp when Disney Plus first launched. And Lady and the Tramp is underrated. That was actually well done, in my opinion. And it didn't have the star power that this one does. So I'm excited to see what happens. We have to talk a little bit about something a little unsettling because it is a movie podcast, and this is, related. But the Blue Fairy in this movie is played by Cynthia Erivo or Erivo. I always say it like a different way. Is it Erivo?
Yeah, I believe so.
Absolutely amazing theatrical talent, musical talent. Has been in a few films that haven't always been great. You know, I'm trying to. What was the one that she was in? She was Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, she got an Oscar nomination for Harriet Tubman, which so just accomplished there. But also, Harriet was a damn rough movie to watch.
Yeah, it was a very rough movie. But her acting has been great. So she's cast in this, and the internet is losing its collective mind and freaking out. I even had some comments on my trailer reaction to it today that were just kind of insane, you know. And I think at this point, I'm just getting extremely frustrated because if they make a carbon copy remake of a film, people bitch and moan. If they change some of the characters around, whether that's the inclusion of, you know, a more diverse cast, and we're talking maybe racial, we're talking maybe, you know, sexual orientation, whatever, people lose their shit. So it's, you know, pick a lane there. But I also like the fact that Disney is updating these films to be more representative of culture and, you know, the reality of the world that we live in. Because when these originally came out, it was a very different time in film, in the film and television industry, where characters of diverse backgrounds were relegated to the background or subordinate roles or stereotypical roles. So I really enjoy what they're doing. This kind of folds in, and Sean, I want to get your thoughts on that. But we're also seeing the same thing happen with Moses Ingram for Obi-Wan Kenobi. And if you saw some of the text messages or the Instagram messages that she shared, they're absolutely horrendous. One's literally threatening her and just basically calling her out, saying she's a diversity hire and talking so much shit against her just for her inclusion in this Star Wars property. This is sick. It's just like really ugly behavior from the Star Wars fandom in one sense, but then also from, you know, those who are saying that Disney's too woke because they included a black person as the Blue Fairy, as a fictional fucking character. It's a fairy in a movie about a wooden puppet that comes to life and follows around a dancing, singing, talking Jiminy Cricket. This is ridiculous. Get with the program and get with the world.
If you would rather your Blue Fairy be white, there is an animated version of Pinocchio. You can head to your local VCR, put the tape in there, and just watch it and watch it and watch it for the rest of your life. Don't eat, don't sleep, just keep watching it until you become a skeleton and we don't have to deal with you anymore. Because at this point, I can't understand, like, you know, and when someone like does like makes the call of like, you know, oh, it's a diversity hire, it's like, and I sort of make the argument, yes, like I say yes, because there needs to be diversity in these things, because there's not only white people in audiences. I guess they just thought there were only white people in audiences back in like 1926 or whenever the original Pinocchio was made, and so
or in the world, like
yeah, like just in general. And it's one of those things where people just get upset about more diverse like audience. More diverse characters and things, and they think that they're just doing it for political points or something. No, we're doing it, you know, for capitalism, which, you know, usually that's something you love and stuff, to get more people in the seats, but also to show, like, you know, like to reach out to those audiences, those audience members, those diverse audience members. Also, maybe they just thought Cynthia Erivo was right for the part. All right.
Yeah,
like,
let's not undercut her talent here.
Like, she's really good. She's an exceptional singer. And also, like, I mean, let's really do this here. I'm not too familiar on the White Fairy's role, but she's in 13 seconds of this movie.
The Blue Fairy.
The Blue Fairy. Oh, well, there we go.
The White Fairy was in the animated.
White Fairy was but she's in like a minute or two of this, and I don't think she had lines originally. So if you're getting mad about this, there's no reason. When we get to the Moses Ingram thing, that's the same thing. If you're actually getting mad about a fictional thing, any fictional thing ever, just stop being mad about it, because it's a fictional thing. All right. If you're mad about anything in a Star Wars series, there is going to be 15 more Star Wars series coming down the pike. All right. And you're going to be able to watch those and you'll be fine. Okay. Like, it's just one of these things where I don't get it. Now, you know, if you really think, and I don't think this is true, but if you really think Moses Ingram's performance was bad, because that's what some people said. They said, it's nothing about race. It's just that Moses Ingram had a bad performance. No, she didn't. It was a good performance. It was well done. But several comments said the same word. They said she had a wooden performance. Now, first of all, the fact that they all use the same word means they all definitely read the same 4chan thread earlier and then went to But just in case that's not the case, if you're going to describe her performance as wooden, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Hey, you can have your opinion if you think her performance was bad. If you think it was overacted or overanimated, sure, you can have that opinion. I'm there for you. But she was given 110% regardless. She was completely out there with it. Wooden is boring. Wooden is bad. She was not doing that. So your description of like how you think she was bad is wrong. And therefore, most likely you're just looking for a reason to, not like a performance. Once again, you're allowed to dislike a black woman's performance, a black man's performance, a black actor's performance. You're allowed to do that. But when the shitty description of a performance is said several times, I'm going to start getting suspicious.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
So I received a message about this today because I posted a reaction video to the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan, and we're going to talk about Obi-Wan in a couple minutes. But I want to make a distinction here based on what you just said and also what I was accused of in this message earlier. But I am someone that did not like her character in the show. I don't like the character as of this moment. I thought the performance was a little spastic in a way compared to the strength of, that's the wrong word, the aura of the Inquisitors. I thought that hers just didn't vibe with the rest of them. And I wasn't loving her performance as that character. I'm not at the point where I can determine whether that's like her as an actress, because I haven't seen her in anything else, or if that's the character itself. So that's like, I didn't like the performance. That does not mean I don't 1,025,000,000% support her in this role. And the fact that people are attacking her based on her race is just, you stop there. Like, that's where the end of the conversation comes.
If you think her performance is bad, then you don't have death threats for her. Because, Hayden Christensen, like a lot of people used to hate on his performance. And, hey, I don't know. I didn't look at his DMs, but I don't think he had that many death threats. Right.
There's a lot of performances I don't like. I'm not DMing them to tell them. Like, some are hits, some are misses, some are the right fits, some are not. And some people will love it. That's my opinion on this. Yeah. My opinion, however, is not grounded in racism. And I'm not a racist person that's denying my racism.
Yours is legit. Yours is more of the character study, honestly, on her, which is what I personally, let's go down this lane. I love that she's sporadic. She's kind of like the Kylo Ren of the Inquisitors. She's just pure chaos, which I sort of love that, like, she's bringing all this sorts of emotion with it because, she's a former Jedi, and I think they show her in the beginning, sort of, maybe.
Let's hold off real quick and let's do our spoiler alert. I'm with you on that. I totally agree. Okay. But and this is actually, like, as I'm thinking about this, I'm wrestling with myself in terms of, is it her performance or is it the way the story was written that I'm not liking? And I'm thinking back to the second episode where she yells about him being alive, him being Anakin Skywalker. And it comes right after she says, like, something about Vader. I thought that was just a weird, and then you see Obi-Wan's reaction before they even get to the point about saying he's alive, Anakin Skywalker, or whatever. It just felt so weird to me. And the fact that she was like going through with the lightsaber, like, he's alive. Like, it just, I didn't love it. Right. So, and that's kind of how I am with the series. However, this is how I was with Moon Knight early on. And I need to see it develop. And someone also went after me and was like, you can't judge it off of 2 episodes. And I'm like, I agree. And that's why I just said, at this point, this is where I'm at with it. I think my hype was built up a lot. And what I want to see is probably going to come in like 2 or 3 episodes with the altercation between, probably the last episode, between Vader and Obi-Wan. And so maybe for me, I would have appreciated, or I would have enjoyed a, 2-episode special or something like, whatever. But listen, it's just, it's going to hit people in different ways. Right. But I will tell you that when Ewan McGregor is on the screen, I'm like mesmerized, because he brings you right back to his character and how strong he was as Obi-Wan in those prequel movies. And I'll also say that the recap of the prequel movies at the beginning got me pretty pumped.
So good. Like I'm watching it with my wife on like we were on the Cape, and I was watching it on our phone. We fell asleep. We fell asleep right after the prequel thing, but like we both were just like this is beautiful. Like it was just a well done montage. Everyone's talking about that on how well done it was for like prequels that are kind of decried as a little bit worse than usual, but they were beautiful there.
Where are you at with the series itself? The first 2 episodes?
I actually quite love it. I really love that they went with saving Leia. This was in a Reddit comment I read where it said, well, that's why Leia trusts Obi-Wan in the beginning of A New Hope. And I never,
I like that.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like this is Filoni filling another friggin' hole, because Filoni just does this. Even the holes that don't need to be filled, he's just doing this kind of stuff. I loved, like you said, Ewan McGregor's performance, but I love how he's transitioning towards Alec Guinness, where he's just going to be kind of like really like he's at peace. He's like sort of like very low key. He lost, and it was really tough because that first, I think, for the pretty much that whole first episode, he is just down in the dumps the whole time. He's like, just slicing meat out of a beach whale, and then, like the worst commute of all time on a cyber bus. And then he goes and he rides a camel.
My dad texted me and goes, so Obi-Wan works at a meat packing plant?
Also, what is the security at that place? He's the only one there. He throws a little bit of meat in his stuff. How has he not gotten stabbed yet?
Every day. Every day.
Oh, man.
I like that you brought up the Leia piece, because I forgot to bring that up. I enjoy that. It's funny because I think you and I were texting about it. I think the character of young Leia is very annoying right now. But she's a headstrong, not toddler, headstrong child, right? But the young actress that's playing her is playing her very well. And, some of the things that I think we're probably going to see with alluding to what comes down the road between Obi-Wan and Leia is great. Seeing Jimmy Smits back is great. But I'll tell you what really pissed me off with this series. Once again, the character that I'm really starting to enjoy gets killed off.
Flea?
No.
Oh,
also, speaking of, before I get to that, I'm very worried about the cameos here.
Yeah,
because like the Ninjani was not the best.
Oh, I loved him. You didn't like him?
No, I thought he was so out of place in this.
Oh man,
I was like, but the character I'm talking about is Rupert Friend's Grand Inquisitor. I thought that was such a cool character, and maybe I don't know, like it's Star Wars world, so who knows? Maybe like they cauterized as soon as he was stabbed, and now he's fine and he'll come back because he doesn't need his lower abdomen or whatever. But I really enjoyed that character, and it just seems weird to me that they already bumped him off, but it's probably to push Moses Ingram's character a little bit more as like the true secondary villain, I guess, and just show what lengths he's willing to go to. So I don't know where it's going.
I mean, the Grand Inquisitor is in Star Wars Rebels, and I'm only a season in on Star Wars Rebels, but from what I've heard, like I don't want to spoiler alert for Star Wars Rebels, but he's killed in that. And so based on the timelines, it might just like they probably are just syncing it up. Or, like you said, he's cauterized immediately, or didn't hit any vital organs. I'm good.
Yeah.
Got through.
He's going to take that Palpatine approach, pop back up in 5 seasons.
No, but I mean, I think that the Kumail Nanjiani appearance, you thought it was just a little bit too slapsticky for the rest of the.
I did. I kind of was in at the very beginning of it, like when he first popped on, and I thought that he was actually a Jedi, and I was like, "Cool, we're finally going to see a Jedi that's not like all like tight and mature and all that." Which I guess you can argue that Anakin, we saw that with Anakin, but that's different.
He was like still heavy.
Yeah. So it was just, I don't know. It seemed kind of odd, and like when he was distracting the Inquisitor at the end, I was kind of frustrated. I was just like, what are we doing? I also, and this is more on me, but I fell asleep halfway through the episode and had to go back and rewatch it.
That's always tough. That always kills it no matter what I've done. It's just so tough.
But this was like middle of the day. I fell asleep. Like, so it just, I wasn't feeling it. I'm not saying I won't end up feeling it, but right now I'm just a little off on it.
Yeah. Like I can understand people not really liking this. I at this point, of course, I'm not going to make any judgments until 4 more episodes come to fruition. But right now, I just really liked these two. Oh man, it was just I don't know. There's something about it where like it felt like the Star Wars where we're filling gaps again. It felt like looking at Clone Wars. It felt like looking at what Rebels is right now that I'm going through, and hopefully it could do some cool stuff.
It's we should mention that the premiere was the top premiere on Disney Plus so far in its history.
That makes sense.
So that's kind of wild. It was a big weekend for records because Top Gun obviously broke the Memorial Day weekend record. I think Netflix broke or Stranger Things 4 broke a record for Netflix. It's just a lot going on.
It was great to be out at a Cape Cod cottage with no Wi-Fi whatsoever because with my niece because I watched Frozen, then Moana, then Frozen, then Moana, then Frozen. Then
I love Moana though.
I will say, like watching those several times back, I will say Moana is so friggin' good compared to Frozen. Like it's unbelievably good.
How far will you go? I just looked up what Obi-Wan is getting on Rotten Tomatoes, and it is getting a critic score of 87% and an audience score of 71.
It's interesting that they almost sort of agree. Usually one's the opposite of the other.
Well, 87 and 71. I mean, that's
usually it's like 150. Like
what did The Mandalorian get?
Well, that's
93 and 91.
Yeah, everyone loved that one. But you go to the Star Wars movies, and that's going to be a different story.
Interesting. All right, shall we move on? Jonathan, if that is your real name.
It is the full name.
That's the full name. What we are going to do is dive into our best, worst, most surprising, and most disappointing films of 2022 thus far. And this was actually really interesting to go back and look at my letterbox to try to figure out where I stand with things. I'm pretty excited for this. So, Sean, let's start off with our best 3 films. You want us to do that? Best, worst, just go that order?
Yeah, let's start off with the because then we end with that means we end with biggest. That's fine. Yeah.
Or do you want to start with biggest disappointments?
Let's go with biggest disappointments so that we end with best.
All right, let's start with biggest disappointments. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. The first one I have here is Moonfall. The amazing sci-fi movie. I expected crappy fun sci-fi, and I just got crappy sci-fi. It was a real letdown. Really tried to be cooler than it was, and that one was a pretty solid letdown for me. That's why I could put that under worst, but I'm just disappointed by it.
Sean, my first was a movie called Moonfall.
Yes.
I was really excited for that dumb action, kind of what I was talking about earlier, like that mindless entertainment. And God, that was just a bad movie.
Just so bad. It was just not I was rooting for it, man.
I remember that's the movie that I grunted during multiple times. Things would happen and I was like, ugh.
I mean, just to be completely honest here, I took a shit in the middle of that movie.
It did too, so it's totally
exactly
fine.
I had to go, and I was like, you know what? I'm really not missing anything, so I turned it out.
Took a shit in the middle of that movie. I'll throw out my second one right now, so we can kind of go back and forth. I put Firestarter. This wasn't one that was high on my list, and I didn't hate the movie, but it was very disappointing in how little of an impact it had. And I think that it really could have started a sort of a fun series if they wanted to go with that character a little bit more. I thought the performances were fine. It just felt like the movie itself was a little bit of a mess and didn't really deliver the way it should have.
Yeah. Man. I'll be talking about that one later if you catch my drift. But it's the same sort of deal. It's just, it didn't really do anything. It didn't do anything new or bring anything new. My next biggest disappointment was Master.
I debated putting that on my list.
Yeah, this social justice horror that just tried to ride on the coattails of being a social justice horror with no real solid message, and still what I consider to be the weirdest fucking twist of all time. It doesn't add anything to that movie. It's just no, what, no, what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can't disagree with you there. I think that was 100% a disappointing film. There were a few, and I'm going to mention one later from Sundance that pops up as a disappointing, but then also one that may pop up somewhere else. So, Sundance, I mean, that's a film festival for you. You're going to see a lot of good things. You're going to see a lot of bad things. But what's your third, Jonathan?
It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. the Netflix one, because there was something about it where they were doing a modernization of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which, like, in retrospect, in hindsight now, I think about it, I'm like, wow, I should have ran straight away from this movie. Like, what was I actually thinking that this could be good? But, it was Netflix. I said, I'll give it a try. The original is just this absolute horror masterpiece that brought forth, like, the gritty 70s horror. And this just polished it and tried to make dumb millennial jokes, including one of the worst lines of all time.
I'm trying to remember the exact line.
I'm trying to get it to. He holds it up.
Canceled or something?
Like, make one move and you're canceled, bro. They tried to cancel Leatherface with not a stitch of irony, or maybe too much irony. I'm not sure which. But.
I'm trying to find the line right now. I totally forgot about that.
Makes me sick.
Oh my god. So my last one is one that I'm gonna probably get some comments about. But I'm going there. Number 3, most disappointing for me, is Doctor Strange in a Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
I was really hyped up about this. We've talked about it ad nauseum. I thought this was going to be like really wild. They called it the Multiverse of Madness. Things are going to go absolutely insane. And while I really enjoyed Wanda's performance in it, and I enjoy the introduction of America Chavez, and some of the things in there worked, I just keep thinking about. I almost texted you today, being like, "Remember when they had a sound note battle?"
And that's something we got to talk, because everyone praises that, and that is just, it was not good.
That was the dumbest shit in the world.
Everybody is praising that. Every single podcast I listen to, every single review I listen to is like praising the sound of battle, and I just truly don't think it's that cool.
No, that was so stupid. And apparently they changed the song last minute, and it was Kevin Feige's suggestion, they said it worked like with the fight, which is cool, but and that is neither here nor there, and why I think the movie's disappointing. But I just felt like it was built up to be so much more. And they, even when they were first introducing it, I think at Disney Investor Day back in 2000 or early 2000, 2021, or maybe the end of 2020, they just kind of made it out like, this is going to be the first big horror film in the MCU, and it's going to break open the multiverse and things are going to go nuts. And then we kind of just like tiptoed into it, and then had an ending to the movie that was completely ruined by the post-credit scene where, at the end of the movie, he like falls into the middle and his eye pops open and whatever. And then like a couple minutes later, in the mid-credit scene, I should say it is, Clay is like, "Hey, I need you." And he's like, "Cool, let's go."
It pops open that eye like it's nothing. It's like, oh, I guess he got used to that.
Yeah, that was real quick. Like the next block over, he figured it out. So I don't know. That one just kind of bothered me. But
that's a good one. Yeah.
I wrestled with a lot of them there. Where are you at? Let's go to most surprising.
I love it.
I'll start off with most surprising, just since we're doing that back and forth thing. And I lost my list, so please hold. But there we go. Most surprising. I'm going to start from my number 3. My number 3 is a movie called Gold. This is a movie with Zac Efron that is him trying to survive in the Australian outback. And it is just a really solid performance by Efron that was a really enjoyable Castaway-esque single individual focus that does some things with the character and with the script that kind of keeps you on your heels. Keeps you on your toes. I guess that's the toes. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really surprising movie. It was one that didn't get to like a wide release. It definitely was in theaters, but I think limited theaters and only briefly. But it's a really solid movie, so I recommend catching that if you can.
Yeah, when that comes out somewhere, I'll definitely take a look.
Yeah.
So one of my most surprising is one I mentioned already that would be on the most surprising list, because I really thought this was going to be a bucket of shit, like just DreamWorks animation fodder of talking animals. And I said, there's no way this can be good. And this is The Bad Guys. And I ate every single one of my words. I can't believe
I told you.
You had your good review, and I was like, oh. And then like everyone has good reviews, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm going to see this. I really wasn't even going to see it, like bother seeing it. I'm so happy I did. This was so much fun. It uses animation like animation, which is just like an absolute blast. It's like there's original processes through it. The style is cool. It's a load of fun. The voice acting is tremendous. I'm telling you, The Bad Guys was just like my absolute biggest surprise, without a doubt.
This one almost made my list. It was like number 4. It was in the mix. But what else you got?
The other one I have was another one where This was great because this is Richard Linklater's movie. When the trailer came out like 2 days before the release, and we said, well, this can't be good. And it was Apollo 10.5. This movie definitely splits people up. I mean, as Richard Linklater does. So, there's going to be people that love and hate this movie, but this is another one of his rotoscope animation movies. And it's about a kid that is, becomes the person that pilots the 10.5 spacecraft and is the first one to land on the moon. But that part of it is only 2 minutes long. And the rest of it is just like nostalgia narrated by Jack Black about him growing up in the 60s and 70s, which is amazingly gutsy, tremendously great. And yet you're still not disappointed by not seeing a space travel, like not having a space travel movie be involved in this. He got away with something so great there. And I remember I watched this because I was like, all right, Linklater, Netflix, sure, why not? Let me go for this. And I was blown away by how great it was.
I completely forgot about that movie like the day after it released. So that did not make any of my list because I haven't seen it. But the one that did make number 2 for me was The Outfit. Mark Rylance, wild movie. Wild's not the right term. Wild that I had no idea what it was before I went to a screening of it, and I saw a screener of it and had an absolute blast with it. It is just a very well-paced crime drama that is simplistic in nature, but just was a lot of fun to see unfold, and had some great performances in it. Sans Dylan O'Brien, who I didn't really like in it. But that was a real surprise for me. It was a lot of fun. I thought it was a captivating film for what it was doing. And like we said, I think weeks ago, I can't wait to see it on stage because it has to make it to stage. That's made for stage. Number 1 for me is, I think, going to be your number 1 as well, is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Oh, you put that in best, didn't you?
Of course I did. I didn't know if there could be overlap. I always try not to do overlap.
I didn't do overlap because I figure like most surprising is sort of like incorporating some of the best.
Yeah, exactly.
So Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, this was obviously a movie that was on nobody's radar really until it came out and started getting really positive word of mouth. And it's still kicking at the box office. And Michelle Yeoh is fantastic. It is a true delight, and how a multiverse movie should be done.
Because what they do is they focus on the several multiverses. You don't spend too much time in them, but you still have captivating stories in each one that relate to all of the stories that are connected. I mean, oh god,
that all come to like an end at the end. Like you wrap them up, and that's just such a beautiful movie.
So good.
Oof. What do you got?
So my last of most surprising, and I don't know how these count anymore because the Oscar rules are different now, and this might be just a TV movie. But this was on HBO Max, and God bless Steven Soderbergh for doing just billions of HBO Max movies, and just all of us being surprised by them. But this one is Kimmy. At like 70 friggin' minutes, this movie it's basically just all of the best of Hitchcock through a much more modern lens. And but you also get the air of Soderbergh throughout. It's just like I said, short runtime. But I mean, if this movie were 3 hours long and they did all the stuff they did in this, you wouldn't know. It just flies throughout. It's unbelievable. It was so great. Zoe Kravitz at the center of it, doing a great job. But it goes from Rear Window to North by Northwest, and then to Psycho a little bit. It's crazy. It's just really just an absolute blast.
Yeah, I remember people were very surprised with that when it came out, that it was actually surprisingly good. And like you said, we always kind of underestimate Soderbergh, but then he delivers there. Honorable mention, I'm going to cheat here. I don't know why this isn't on my list because I had it in my head to put on the list, but Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was such a great surprise and so much fun.
On my honorable mention as well. Yes, absolutely.
Such a surprise. Sean, start us off with worst.
All right, let's see with worst. I don't have them in order or anything like that, but I'll talk about the one you already talked about, and that was Firestarter. You've mentioned how you don't hate this movie, and here's what's so bad about this movie is I don't hate it either. I consider it, as Selena Meyer said about Mike McClintock, you're just like an earlobe. You're just there. You're just there. There was nothing.
We have a deep reference. I love it.
You're just there. Oh.
Brody does not agree. My dog does not agree with your
Brody loved Firestarter.
I'm going to mute while you're talking, and he barks at whatever's squirrel going by.
but it was truly like just something that I wish there could have been something new to the modernization of it. They could have added something, but it just really felt like nothing, which was really that was its ultimate sin for me. It's like not like, because we could do the so good it's better, or so bad it's good kind of thing. If you want to do that, which was, what I expected from something like Moonfall, but it's, I don't know. But
no, it was a total failure there. It's and you knew it kind of, I guess, when Peacock was going to deliver it straight. I was going to say it because it's Peacock, but at the same time, they do that with Marry Me, and Marry Me was a little bit more successful.
Marry Me was good, and then they also did it with Halloween Kills, so they're 1 for 2, but
ugh. Not great.
So another worst of mine was this actually I could put in most disappointing, actually, because there was something about this that I thought could be interesting with Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas involved, and Deep Water was. God, it was bad. There's just not much about this. It was ugly and a half. You try to see if there's something there. This is like, the two of them in a sexual thriller that didn't include any of the thrills or like show the murders or anything like that.
Or the sexual, because they like despised one another in a way. Like, yeah, they loved each other so much that they were against. It was weird.
It was just something where, like, some part of it needs to be there. And, there doesn't have to be sexual between them. It's just, have, like, the sexual part between the other partners and stuff like that, including the tall kid from, Euphoria. And Nate Jacobs. I don't know his actual name.
Elordi or whatever, is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
But like have the violent part be from Affleck, but instead you don't see any of the murders because you're going to be left wondering if there are murders, which it's like, well, that's not fun for the rest of it. It was just like a whole mess.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to start off with the fact that was probably a runner up there. That's definitely on my short list for worst. But I went with my third being, it's called Something in the Dirt. And this was a movie that a lot of people talked about at Sundance. And it's just a really quirky movie where two guys that live in LA in these apartments start documenting this paranormal stuff happening in the apartment. And it was so boring. I honestly, this is one of the movies that I cannot figure out what people saw in it. And, good for them for seeing something. But I just struggled with it so much. I did not enjoy it. I wanted to fall asleep, but kept myself awake to watch it, and then was mad that I didn't nap. So that's definitely my first one. My second one is, God forbid, God, don't strike me down.
Do it.
Father Stew with Mark Wahlberg. I thought this was just a really poorly made movie. And this is not speaking on the subject of the film, who was a real individual and went through challenges and such. I just didn't think that the movie did a good job of redeeming any of the characters. And you have Mel Gibson in the film playing the father, trying to be someone going through the redemption when the real life Mel Gibson has not done that himself. So I struggled my ass off with that movie. And, this was even after talking to Wahlberg, and this was like one of probably the biggest interview I've ever done in my life. But talking to him and hearing his inspiration, and it's really admirable that this is a movie that he was really passionate about. But it just didn't work for me, and I didn't like it at all. But such is life.
I often try to make myself, see a movie, go see every single movie I possibly can. Father Stu kept on looking at me in the theaters every time on Fandango, and I was like, I don't think I could do that one.
No. I'll hit you with my last one and then jump back over to you. Studio 666. This was the Foo Fighters movie. This could have been fun. And it could have played with what it really with the subject. It could have had fun with how ridiculous of a subject the film was based on, right? And what they were trying to do. But it was just so ridiculous. The acting was absolutely piss poor, which I guess you would expect. But it also just was a very dumb story and very stupid all throughout. There's a way to do dumb and a way to capitalize on something that is so silly that it's fun. But you never quite get to the fun part, and it just remains silly and stupid the entire way around. What a missed opportunity, because it ends up just being an infomercial essentially for whatever project they're working on next, their next album. But Ugh.
That's a shame. All right, so
that's a shame.
We're working on best now.
No, you still have your last.
I still got one
worst.
more wrong. Yeah, or one more worst. Yeah. Oh well, this is no surprise to you. I bet you could even guess this one before I finish. But it's senior year. Senior year was really tough for me. A lot of people love it. Apparently, I watched it. Of course, not looking great with it, but I said, hey, it's got a strong supporting cast. There could be some fun in there. But you just are hinging on a lead that does not work, or a character written that doesn't work. I don't want to pin it all on Rebel Wilson, but the written character definitely doesn't work, and it's just unappealing on so many levels in that regard. So, a lot of people love the nostalgia, and hey, the nostalgia was there, but like I said, just get a nostalgia playlist on Spotify, play that instead, and then avoid watching this movie.
I heard amazing things, so no, I don't know. That doesn't surprise me from you at all.
Yeah, this was not, everyone's just we're not surprised you felt like this.
Yeah. Everyone had that one penciled in when they heard we were doing this. All right, let's start off with our best, and let's do tit for tat for this one. My third best of the year, and I did rank these, is You Won't Be Alone. A horror movie that is just absolutely wonderful. It's based in 19th century Macedonia, and it's kind of like a witch movie. But Numi Rapace is in that, and everyone in this is just absolutely phenomenal. Anna Maria Marinka plays a kind of like the elder witch in this, and it's really wild. It is a slower moving film, but it is just haunting and done extremely well. And it's the first major film from Goran Stovelsky. And just hearing him talk about the project as well is really exciting. This was a standout for me at Sundance, and when it got released, I went to see it again because it's just that good. So I do recommend this if you haven't seen it yet.
Nice. I got to look out for that one.
Oh, it's quality.
My third best is Scream.
Oh! Whoa!
Look at this guy. Man, did I love this movie. Man, did it just bring back this franchise. Not that it was plummeting at all, but it did turn it up so many notches. It really made the reboot sequel, as they call it, or the requel, which I don't like that term, but
rebootable.
Rebootable. It just really I don't know. It was the fresh take on the horror. They're starting to catch up with what the horror is now. They made fun of the prestige horror without being cynical, which I really like, because there's that battle of prestige horror right now. And I think that all horror can get along. We can all enjoy each other's. And I think Scream did unify that. And so that was one that I just think did very well. I would have loved to have seen it end at this one. It seemed like a perfect bookend. I'll be excited for the next one, though.
I can't wait for the next one. I'm already really pumped for it. Maybe that will be the next one that we see together.
That might be it, yeah, because apparently I keep on pushing dates.
No, that's not your fault.
I know.
My number 2 is one that also I saw at Sundance, I believe it is, and it hits Apple TV Plus this month, June 17th. And this is Cha Cha Real Smooth.
I thought this would be your one. Now I got to see what your one is.
Cooper Raiff, Cha Cha Real Smooth, Dakota Johnson. Just a really delightful movie about, a young guy in his 20s that's back, or, young guy that's back in town, working as a bar mitzvah party host, and reconnects with a younger woman, or, someone that grew up in the town as well. And her young daughter who has special needs. It's just I'm getting choked up talking about it because it's just a beautiful movie. And it was such a great surprise when I saw it. I loved it so much. So definitely recommend Cha Cha Real Smooth on Apple TV Plus. I think it's going to be an awards player next year.
I absolutely love Shithouse, so I'm very much looking forward to. And I heard it's very different, which is awesome.
Oh, 1,000%. And look, I am not a person that follows a specific director or actor. I certainly have the ones I like, and this is probably the first director that I'm extremely excited for moving forward, and just want to see everything that he does, because I think that Cooper Raiff does such a great job of breaking down the stories and telling a authentic story. That is something that, especially with the subjects that Cha Cha Real Smooth gets into, much needed. So definitely check that out. It comes out 3 weeks now. Can't wait.
That'll be the day I'm moving into my new house. So,
well, gotta move that.
I can't watch it immediately.
This house is fucking everything up. I just want you to know.
I swear to God, like it's driving me.
Damn it, Sam.
In July, we're good. Maybe. No, definitely not. What am I saying? Absolutely not.
Did you start packing yet? Okay. Number 2, Sean.
All right. So I think I'm the most predictable human on the planet because number 2 is The Northman. I mean, when it comes to Eggers, I really did love this one. And it's tricky because, what did I do? I tried to stack the Eggers movies already. And, it's always impossible to do, except Lighthouse is on top. But I really did like so much about this. I like how it, subverted my expectations in so many ways, even though I expected it to be great. It told the story that I expected in a very different fashion. And still brought in the mystical kind of elements to it, which I just really appreciated. Just great cast, beautiful, beautiful camera work. I absolutely love this movie.
Yeah, I wish I could love it.
You do like it, though.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
you like it. I liked it a lot. I have issues with it, but I liked it a lot. Yeah, interesting. I'll go with my number 1, and then we'll finish on yours. This is the biggest surprise to me in my life. No kidding. I despise the first film, and I absolutely loved this one.
I should have seen this coming.
To the point where I've been seeing previews on TV for it the past couple of days. Like we were down the shore I was down there with family, and the previews would come on, and I was getting chills. And then I would play Lady Gaga "Hold My Hand" on YouTube. I'm talking about Top Gun Maverick. This is just an absolute stellar movie through and through. And I've said a lot about it already. I just absolutely love this movie.
It's wonderful. It's the perfect summer blockbuster, and that's not even close to any sort of a diss. It's there's everything about it in the entertainment, and then there's a depth to it that's amazing. It treats Tom Cruise like a movie star and also like a human, which is very rare. That was the most impressive aspect to me, besides all of the amazing flight scenes.
Those flight scenes were insane. I was on the edge of my seat watching them.
Unbelievable.
And oh my God. And then I keep, I think they also use the music so well in this, where that's one of the things that frustrated me in the first one. It was let's just keep playing the same 2 songs over and over again. And and here they definitely use them, and they pay homage to the original film in a lot of ways as well. You totally get the volleyball scene redo in here with the football and stuff. And then, you have the somber moments with Val Kilmer, and you have just a lot going on. I just thought they handled the story really well in terms of taking a look at what's happened to the characters that we know from the first one, and seeing how he would be with these new characters as they introduce for a very unique reason and unique mission in this film. I just thought that was great. But then when that Lady Gaga song hits at the end, when they're on that motorcycle, damn if I wasn't ooh.
Oh. I mean, well, I started tearing up just looking at Glenn Powell's face, because I was just I can't be as handsome as that. Come on. That's just unbelievable.
What a great supporting cast.
Such a great cast.
Oh, such a good movie. What do you got for number 1? I'm confused.
No, you already know. No, you already know, because I said that it was going to be on here. Yeah, it's Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is going to be a long run to possibly be my number 1 for the year. I mean, it's when I do my half year, I think it's going to be there unless something in June surprises me, which it could. But Everything Everywhere All at Once, it's just something that is that innovative, that heartfelt, that beautiful, and also just flat out silly. I mean, the fact that you can have a compelling family drama along with magical butt plug fights and hot dog fingers, it just really there's something about all of that where it's you can hold it all, and it's amazing. It's just truly great and powerful, and the influence on so many different directors. You see Wong Kar-wai in some moments, and you see oh God, I really love this movie. It was a great study of film. It's a great study of storytelling. This one was something special, and is also, I will say, is on my most surprising, because when that trailer came out, I didn't like, crap on it, but I was just like, I don't really know if this is going to be that great.
I feel like I missed the trailer for a while.
It was very muted. Yeah.
When everyone was talking about it, I was like, everything what? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, what a movie. What fun, and just I think a showcase for Michelle Yeoh as well. Oh,
absolutely.
Oh, like I love her so much.
Just get that Oscar nomination, Michelle. Come on.
Do you think she would get one from this?
I want it so bad. I mean, she's due, and when someone is due, they'll push for it. And but just I don't know. April's tough.
Yeah,
A24 has got to do some campaigning, and they have a lot. I think. Well, you know what? I got to look at that, but I think they have a lot of other movies they want to also campaign for. But
yeah,
hopefully they get something for her going.
That's wild. Speaking of which, did you hear? And this is off the beaten path here. But speaking of awards, did you hear that Disney switched Hawkeye from limited series Emmy contention to comedy series, which is just having people think that they're looking at a season 2.
That's what that would mean. Yeah, season 2. But I mean, it's pretty low on the totem pole of both of those. So, but that is interesting that they're that they're like throwing that in because
what would happen if they like won an award for limited series and then they wanted to go do a season 2?
Ask Big Little Lies, because they did that. They should have given back all of their Emmys. Like Big Little Lies won like best limited series. Like Alexander Skarsgård won best supporting actor. I think like Laura Dern. I don't know if Laura Dern won, but a few actors and actresses won.
Laura Dern.
And then right after in right after that, not right after, maybe a little while after, they do a season 2, and nobody really made a big deal about it. Although like I guess it was just whatever. But I mean, then there's like the people that American Crime Story. Technically it's like a limited series, even though there's like we're on season 3 with impeachment, even though they're not real they're anthology seasons. So it gets a little bit hazy. I'm sure there's like legit like thing. What are you gonna do? Take back Nicole Kidman's Emmy? That's it.
Yeah,
but it's weird. It's super weird. Yeah, when they did that.
I can't wait till she wins an award for her AMC entry.
God, now that I have an AMC theater, I see it every time, and I'm like,
heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
and I'm also like, you're in a much nicer theater than mine right now. It's bothering me.
It's bothering me. And who gets dressed up like that to go to the theater? And where is everyone else?
Oh man,
it drives me nuts. All right, well, we just got off track a little bit there, but that is our sort of mid-year podcast version of the best, worst, most surprising, and most disappointing films of the year. But we always want to talk about the latest news that's hitting the Hollywood streets. So we're going to go to our beat reporter. No, I'm kidding.
We can get one of those, though. That'd be fun.
Yeah, how are we going to... We want to pay them?
Oh, yeah.
Nah. The first story we are going to dive into is the fact that Jerry Bruckheimer, when he was on, I guess when he was being interviewed for Top Gun 2, Top Gun Maverick, he was asked once again about National Treasure, and he said that he loves Nicolas, as in Nicolas Cage. He's a brilliant actor, and we are currently working on a script for National Treasure. Now, my question with this is, a lot of people are jumping to that saying it's National Treasure 3, but there's also a National Treasure TV series in the works where I know they've casted a few people, but I'm wondering if like maybe there's some involvement there with like cameos or whatever. But I also think this would totally be something that Nicolas Cage would do at this point in his career.
What, 3, or he would do the TV show?
3.
Yeah. Oh yeah. God, yes, he would do this if they asked him. I mean, the guy doesn't often say no because I think he loves to work when it comes down to it. And he this is a slam dunk for everybody because everybody loves the National Treasure movies. You make another one, it's gonna make money. I don't know, if it's gonna be an absolute beyond slam dunk, but it actually doesn't really have to be good. I mean, you want it to be good for the sake of your street cred and everything, but it does not have to be. This is a slam dunk as a business deal. Everybody will go see this movie, especially and Nicolas Cage will especially star in it because he would be happy to continue this franchise. He has, a faithfulness to this kind of. It seems like he loves these kind of movies.
I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Well, in the second one, they kidnapped the president.
I'm going to kidnap the president of the United States.
I will see it because I love those first 2 movies.
I have never seen them. I know. Not out of avoidance, just have never seen them.
You watch like 1933's like
Yes.
worst film
Name
of the year.
Name it. To Have and Have Not.
No, I cannot.
Yeah, exactly. To Have and Have Not was the name of it.
I'm talking about National Treasure, National Treasure 2 and 3 potentially.
Yeah.
And you're like referencing.
Hey, before I met you, I never saw any of the Screams, and look what happened. Huh? I can learn.
So I can learn. I can grow.
I can grow. So when National Treasure 3 is a go, and we get the date, I'll start watching the little National Treasure movies.
They're all available, I believe, on Disney Plus.
Are they real? Oh, that would make sense.
Probably. Let's move into Star Wars news. So we had Star Wars Celebration. Star Wars Celebration. This past weekend, we got a number of news bits out of there. A few that we should hit on. The first is that Taika Waititi has been said to be developing a Star Wars movie for quite a while. And it sounds like that's the next up on the loading dock, if you will. According to Kathleen Kennedy, the Kevin Feige wannabe for Lucasfilm. There's really no information about this other than like I don't think it's started production.
We just got news that the movie has been pulled.
Creative differences.
Creative differences. Movie's pulled.
It'll now be a 37 episode miniseries on Quibi 2. My question with this, and the reason I bring it up, is there's been a lot of debate when it comes to Star Wars with what's going on with them. We don't know really, and we talked about this I think a little bit on one of the pods, but we don't really know what's going on with the movies at this point. We know that like they're potentially working on another big saga, like they obviously want to maximize the output, but what they're doing is focusing on some of the stories that have already been told and filling in those holes like you mentioned earlier. And when I say stories that have already been told, I mean just focusing on those characters, diving into Andor, which we'll talk about in a second, and looking at Cassian Andor a little bit around, I think, before Rogue One. But like, what's the future of Star Wars movies, and is there an appetite for them right now?
I think there's an appetite for them. I just don't think, like, your question you have in the notes is, do we have confidence in the future of Star Wars films? We do. We all do. They don't. They're worried about those investments, and they're worried about another Rise of Skywalker or another Last Jedi, which, regardless of what you think about one or the other, they were hated by half of the Star Wars community. And so it's a little bit tricky to say that, and so they've been scared since then, and like since then, creative differences have happened, and or they've just been like worried about like throwing money at this and that. And meanwhile, pretty much almost every single series, like Star Wars series, has been getting good hits, like has been like loved by the internet. Even Boba Fett, that's weird, because half of it was Mandalorian. Because half of it was Mandalorian, people were like, "Hey, look, Mandalorian!" And so they like smiled and they kept on going. They just like hit a button, like just put in the Mandalorian.
Well, and apparently, what's his name is already working on season 4, writing season 4.
So there we go. But I mean but that's the thing. Like I remember when Mandalorian came out, it was right after like the 9th movie, Rise of Skywalker, and that was just like the most divisive thing where I was just getting into arguments with so many of my friends, and I was getting sick of it. And then like finally, it was just like Mandalorian, where we all sat there and we just like nodded. We're like, yes, it's good, it's good. Yes, it's good, it's good. So we just all agreed. And it was just so refreshing, and I think I think they enjoyed that as well. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see, like, what? I don't know if series cost less. I guess a little bit, maybe. I don't know how that stuff works, but if they do cost a little bit less and they're doing well, I don't blame them for just wanting to do series the whole time. But eventually, I think you need to move up to big market stuff with movies. That would involve a risk, or maybe this Taika Waititi film, which would be fun. This guy is really great with fantasy. Like, he's really fun with I mean, he did 2 Thor. He saved the Thor franchise. Let's face it. I mean, like, the guy like has fun with fantasy. I don't know. I see this this one going well, and then I think maybe he'll be the trial run, and then hopefully they'll bring a few more of those other ones out there. Like, I still really would like to see the Rian Johnson trilogy. Like, I know there's going to be that name involved is going to have a lot of withholding for a lot of Star Wars fans, but hopefully they'll get over it by then.
Yeah, I just don't know if I have any confidence in them, in the people that are running Lucasfilm or the Star Wars end of Lucasfilm, especially. I think with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, I definitely do. And so we've said for a while, give them the keys to the kingdom, let them kind of chart the future, because I think that's what's missing. And I don't always want to compare it to Marvel, but what we see with Marvel is that they have a good idea of where they're going and what the building blocks are. So yeah, we're getting these series and stuff. And I think that some of them are probably being added in like later down the road based on fan response and things. But we know that we're getting certain series and certain movies that are building towards an ultimate end, even though we don't know what that end is. And when I say end, I mean like the end of the phase or whatever it may be. We don't have that with Star Wars. It's kind of like, okay, we're going to dive into Andor and explore that a little bit more. Okay, well, you guys loved Obi-Wan, and look what we're going to do. We're going to go back to Obi-Wan and Vader and look at that time, which I think is smart. Don't get me wrong, but it's still rooted in the past, and it doesn't move us forward.
Well, Joe, there's going to be all these series that are coming out that are way before the Death Star. There's going to be some that are happening during the Death Star. There's going to be some that happen after the Death Star, too. There's going to be some that involve the Skywalker and some that involve the cousin of a Skywalker and the cousin's brother of a cousin's brother of a Skywalker. And so, we'll just be all connected into that family.
Yeah, I'm bored with it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm frustrated by all that. And I think we're seeing that play out with the movies is, we don't really know what's going on with the movies. We have no idea outside of we know that there's a couple things in the works. Remember Kevin Feige was attached to one at one point too.
I think he still is. I think he
still is. They don't.
I mean, he's still in the Disney building. He shows up on the he goes from the Marvel floor to the Star Wars floor. He's like, hey, what's going on, guys?
And someone goes like Chewbacca, and he leaves. No, I don't know. And I think a prime example of not having confidence in what they're doing is the fact that the comment was made by Kathleen Kennedy. I'm not a big Kathleen Kennedy fan. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, I'm not really.
But she made this comment about how Solo didn't work because of recasting old beloved characters. And she then a couple weeks later was mentioning, or maybe it was even a week later, mentioned that a Lando series was still on the table as soon as what's his name can get back in the mix when he's available. Donald Glover. Donald Glover, because he wants to make it. They've talked about it, but he's got other projects. But when he's ready, we'll do it. So that's kind of talking out of both sides of your mouth there, in saying it doesn't work, but we're going to make a series with one of them. So clearly they're talking about Alden Ehrenreich there as Solo, which I thought he was great in that, in my opinion. I'm a Solo apologist. I'm a Solo supporter. I enjoyed Solo. But I think that's just an example of, one, talking out both sides of your mouth, two, doing that in public, and three, making it very clear that you don't really know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, they're frequently showing their cards. And, I forget if we talked about it when they said it, but they said the plan all along was TV. And it's literally it wasn't.
Yeah,
literally. you showed us a plan where you were going to have a whole bunch of movies, and then you scrapped those movies.
So, remember that holiday special back in the day? This was always the plan.
Bringing back the corpse of Alec Guinness to wave away.
Oh my god! And then Palpatine pops back out. They're getting a Palpatine series now.
Oh, it's a Palpatine in college, chilling with the Palps. Palp fiction.
Oh my god! Palpatine joining a fraternity. One of the other series that got announced.
It's time to butt chug.
Oh my god! It is time to move on. Oh god! Oh.
Get to the paddle.
John Watts has a secret Star Wars series coming. And it's going to star Jude Law, which I fully support. That's wonderful. It's called Star Wars Skeleton Crew. It's described as being in the tone of a classic Amblin coming-of-age adventure film of the 1980s. Hold on. Sorry, I'm reading something different. This is a story set in the New Republic era that tells of a group of kids lost in the Star Wars galaxy trying to find their way home. Do you think it's the kids that get lost in the very opening scenes of the Jedi, the Obi-Wan? They're not kids anymore, but
yeah, I mean, that it depends on when this takes place. I guess we're just gonna.
There were 4 of them that ran off.
Wait, are we gonna have a series that starts with Order 66? I hope we have a series that starts with Order 66. There's been like 3 or 4 series that have started with Order 66. But I mean, this whole thing where it's just like, all right, so it's gonna they might as well have said they couldn't say it. They might as well have said Stranger Things.
Yeah,
because that's exactly what they're clinging to on this. When they said Amblin, it's like, oh, fuck you. We know what you're doing here.
Prepare the butt chug.
I hope.
I can't. Oh my god. That derailed everything. Let's talk real quick about our thoughts on the Andor trailer. We got the Cassian Andor trailer, and I know you were really big on this. You really enjoyed it. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think what this trailer did that I loved is, I love Diego Luna. I think his face is beautiful, but he's in 2 seconds of this. Yeah. And I think that that's really important here. This was a trailer that established setting and cared about setting the whole way through. Wow, was that something refreshing to see.
And beautiful.
And just absolutely beautiful the entire time. We're seeing Stellan Skarsgård in there, which put that dude in sci-fi anywhere. He's looking a little bit slimmer than in Dune, which good for him. But I'm so excited for this. I mean, Tony Gilroy, which is such a strange choice for Star Wars, but I really do love it. I mean, I believe he had problems with Rogue One, and that's why it eventually became I can't remember the director's name, but it was kind of they Ron Howarded him. And I don't know, there's something about this that just really just seems kind of perfect. Although it's with Rogue One, it's with the Death Star and everything like that, it does feel very, very separate. And I think people love Rogue One because even that felt separate. I know it wasn't because they're literally they're trying to blow up the Death Star, but even that felt separate. So I think this one is going to feel even more separate from most, like we were talking about. So I'm just really excited to see just a great cast and just have them back again.
You just absolutely made the connection for me when you mentioned Tony Gilroy, because I thought that he was in this or involved in this, but forgot about him until you just said that. And it gives me Bourne Identity vibes and Bourne Supremacy vibes and just how that's all filmed. So I'm pretty pumped for that because that's my favorite action series. So if he can build up the tension and the drama and then deliver on those action scenes and sort of what we expect from the story without losing the heart of, Diego Luna's character, I think that's going to be wonderful. Sign me the hell up.
Oh, this is my most anticipated now, easily.
It's your new most anticipated movie.
It's not.
It is. It's going to be.
No.
So you may or may not be familiar with the fact that Winnie the Pooh, the character, fell into the public domain about 5 months ago. The original Winnie the Pooh. So not Disney's version of Winnie the Pooh, but Winnie the Pooh based in the books from what's her name? A.A. Milne or whatever. Anyway, they're making a slasher film called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which has already been filmed. And let's see. The first pictures from it show a demonic Pooh and Piglet about to pounce on a scantily clad young woman relaxing in a hot tub. They are... it will see Pooh and Piglet as the main villains going on a rampage after being abandoned by a college-bound Christopher Robin. I can't wait for this.
No, see, this bothers me.
Did Gio Parsons write this?
This is literally, this feels like Clickbait the movie. This is something where it's the Happy Time Murders again, where it's the Muppets acting crude and stuff, and I can't imagine much going on beneath that. I feel like this is just going to be they just said, hey, let's just make a Winnie the Pooh horror movie without really much beneath it. Hey, if it works, I'm excited for it. But this just seems I'm a stick in the mud on this one.
I just texted Gio and I'm like, did you write this? This is Willy's Wonderland written all over it. It sounds ridiculous, but listen. This is the fourth time I'm saying it during this podcast. I love ridiculous. I love stupid. And
if it does it right, if it does the ridiculous right, if it does it, I hate the for the sake of being ridiculous. That's where I start to get a little, and I worry that that's what this is. I also don't know if this will see the light of day.
The director is on. He's in post production on 4 other films, including Fire NATO and Demonic Christmas Tree.
Okay, yeah. So now we know what we're dealing with. This is fantastic.
Sign me up.
This is like when you wanted to put in Titanic 2 into the, or what was it called? Titanic 666.
Titanic 3. Yeah, Titanic 666. That's what it was. But it's essentially Titanic 3.
Yeah, because there was already a 2.
There was a 2.
Oh God.
Get excited. All right, we like to wrap up every episode with our rants and raves, and this one is no different. I'm going to start off with a rant here, and bear with me because there will be a film connection. There is a lot wrong in the world today, and we've highlighted it in the past couple of weeks, especially given current events. And setting that aside, that's Serious Joe, and here's Silly Joe. Silly Joe gets pissed off at a few things when it comes to food. One is chicken nuggets need sauce. If you eat chicken nuggets without sauce, you are a psychopath, and I worry about you. I worry about me. And you use sauce, don't you?
I don't have sauce, no. You're gonna watch a Winnie the Pooh murder movie, and I'm the psychopath.
You're eating dried fried chicken without
a purist.
Sauce.
I want the taste of the chicken.
You're a mess. What annoys me is when you ask for sauce. Now, the acceptable sauces are sweet and sour sauce, barbecue sauce, honey mustard, Polynesian sauce from Chick-fil-A, even though they're homophobic, as well as the Chick-fil-A sauce is pretty good too. The problem is they don't give you a lot of sauce. There's not much sauce to cover all of those delicious bland chicken bites. In addition, if you got French fries with it, I want to dip my fries in it too. So you should automatically give me extra there. I shouldn't have to fight for it. That's number one. Number two is I shouldn't have to pay for it. That annoys me. You're making me pay an extra 35 cents for the sauce to enjoy the rest of your meal differently or better. That really freaking annoys me. Where it really gets me is now that, we have supply chain shortages and all this crap. We're running into that problem with salads. Now, I'm a connoisseur of salads. I love Caesar salads. Chicken Caesar salads are wonderful. Back in the day, before Guy at the Movies, I toyed with starting a Caesar salad blog where I would try Caesar salads from all over the place and recommend them. Still might do that. Guy at the Caesar salad. Guy ate the Caesar salad. Trademark. But the problem is now they're giving you that little thimble cup of dressing. And when I ask for it on there, even when I'm going, taking it to go, I want you to put the dressing on it because I know that you're a human being and you're going to put enough dressing on it and mix it up where it's good, right? Where it has enough in there. If you give it to me and I take it home and I get a little thimble of that dressing and it doesn't soak the entire salad, then I'm going to be really pissed off and it ruins the meal and I won't get another salad from you there. That really freaking bothers me. Okay. On the flip side, however, AMC theaters and your dine-in theaters, I love that you're offering a salad option, even though I think it's 1,200 calories. I'm enjoying that you offer that. I would argue that you could cut down about 600 of those calories if you don't put as much dressing on. Because
you're just fun
at
now.
The bottom of the bowl, there's a little pond of salad dressing. It is a mess. So all I'm saying is there are a lot of reasons I will vote for certain candidates to run for government. But the first candidate to propose a fix to the outrage that is sauces and dressings not being provided in ample amounts. Also, along with that, please ban flea markets because they are the bane of my existence. There's no organization to them, and walking through them is horrible. But the one that does that will get my vote. You also have to be about gun control, pro-choice, LGBT rights.
Do you have any idea how bad I have to pee?
But this is important to me, Sean. And this is our 100th episode. You should have peed before. You did.
I did.
But that's where I'm at. Thank you for your consideration. And now on to you.
Thank you. Now that I yield my time. No, I'm just gonna do a quick rant against mid-season finales. There's no purpose to them. If you're gonna have like seasons apart from each other, just have it be called the next season. All right. Recently, Better Call Saul had season 7A, and then it's gonna be season 7B. That's called season 7 and season 8. It just drives me insane because it's just and they're doing it for a decent reason of like, hey, we have 2 chances now to get an Emmy. Like we could do it in this little bit and this little bit.
Oh, is that why?
I don't know if that's totally why. Sometimes it might be, sometimes it might be to outlast subscriptions a little longer. Stranger Things is definitely doing it so that they keep the subscription until July because they want to, they have 2 more episodes left in July. And so that's their goal.
That are each like 2.5 hours long.
I don't even want to talk. I'm not even. This rant is. I can't focus on that right now because that just pisses me off beyond all belief. Then make 4 episodes, you idiots. Okay, I'm done with that one. All right, so now, regardless of that, it's just one of those things where, so it will mess up their Emmy chances. Bob Odenkirk hasn't won an Emmy yet. So what will they do? Will they give him the Emmy this year, or will they realize, hey, wait a minute, he could win it next year? For the second half of that. But then what if another crazy performance comes along and he loses the Emmy that year as well? And so then Bob Odenkirk never wins an Emmy. Rhea Seehorn never gets nominated for an Emmy, which is just absolutely nuts that she hasn't got nominated for an Emmy yet. Better Call Saul, which is just another rant I could go on, which is pretty much friggin' ridiculous. But regardless, the way they should be or the way they should be. Breaking Bad had the greatest second half of a season ever, but it would have been amazing to watch it all come together the whole way through for their final season 5. I think it's just like splitting up a movie. Honestly, I look at the Harry Potter movie, the 7th Harry Potter movie. You put that movie together, that's one of the best movies of all time. Apart, they're both a little bit disconnected, and that's just it's just one of those things where it really could have been perfect, but splitting series up, splitting seasons up, splitting movies up. We got to stop this thing.
We should start having people vote on our rants and raves, like who had the better rant or rave this week.
That would be fun.
Would that be fun? That'd be a nice addition. Sean, let's wrap this up. It's our 100th episode. Congratulations. We'll chat more, and we're going to have more fun moving forward. It is a pleasure to do this podcast with you each and every week.
It is the pleasure is all mine, sir.
Tip of the hat, gotta pee. Let's talk about what's coming out this week. You have Crimes of the Future hitting limited theaters, Dashcam hitting limited theaters, Fire Island hitting Hulu, Hollywood Stargirl hitting Disney Plus, Interceptor hitting Netflix, A Phantom of the Open hitting limited theaters, and Watcher hitting limited theaters. Join our Patreon. It's $2 right now. We have a lot of fun content planned coming the way. We've taken a little bit of a break with it, but we'll be hitting it again soon. So join that. Don't miss out on the fun. A lot of great opportunities with us. That's about that, Sean. Sean, I will talk to you soon. Enjoy your pee. Thanks for being here for this long ass episode. Bye.
The Guy at the Movies podcast is a joint venture between Math Teacher Movies and Guy at the Movies. You can catch new episodes weekly right here wherever you're listening to this one. Subscribe so you never miss a beat.